G'day, g'day, g'day. It's Wednesday. Elevate language. And we're going to sharpen our focus by reflecting on yesterday, which was strength and habits. And a habit I have is when it gets wet, I stay indoors and rug up. And for some reason, I've got no socks on and my feet are freezing. Is it a good habit? Well, keeps you on your toes, as they say. Pardon the pun. No, pun intended. No pun intended? No, comma, pun intended. Depends how you say it. And that's what language is all about. Empowering language is positive, reinforcing language that allows you to lift your mood, to be more positive, to be more social, and to hang around with people that are positive and empowering you. So, why do you want to hang out with negative noonies? Be more social. Simply say, g'day.
Do you feel like there's never enough time in the day? Are you struggling to switch off from work, the internet, and social media? It's time to reconnect with family, friends, colleagues, and most importantly, yourself. Join the Be More Social Daily Challenge. Just 10 minutes a day to recharge, gain more energy, and enjoy what matters most. Let's begin.
Yeah, okay, so elevate language. So we know the 7 days, don't we? So we've got Clarify Purpose Monday, Strengthen Habits Tuesday, Elevate Language Wednesday, Cultivate Awareness Thursday, Sharpen Focus Friday, Embrace Learning Saturday, and Share Freely Sunday. So there's a few threes in there. So elevate language. Now, communication, the 3 levels of communication, I talk about a bit. So first we've got the words that we say, or the words we write. Now, words, they are about 7% of communication, 7 to 10%. And then around 25, 27% is the tone you use. So when you're reading a page, there's no tone. You need to imagine that. And then when you get down to the nitty gritty, the 60 odd percent, 66, 67%, that's body language. So that is the best form of communication. So even though you may be watching this or not even paying attention to what you're watching, because your next favour eye, explore our curated selection and find what? It's gone. So interruptions, disruptions on the phone as we do some recordings online. So you can see my hand movements, but if you're only listening as your phone's in your pocket or you're walking around or you're in a Zoom room and you're listening to this for the first time, you don't know where I am, but you kind of figure it out with your imagination and your memory, what you've heard before. Can you hear the birds? Can you hear me walking? Can you hear the traffic? Well, it all depends on how you cultivate your awareness. So we've got the 3 levels of communication. We've now got 3 levels of awareness. There's actually 4, but I like to focus on 3. The 4th one is why we wrote the book, Be More Robotic. It's when you find you're just traveling along in life and you didn't even realize you'd left where you were and you've arrived at your new destination. It's like you're on autopilot. It's unconscious competence, where you're totally unaware that you're actually driving a car at 100 kilometers an hour as you're staring into the straight lines of the road. Yeah, be more robotic. So the 3 ones we like to look at, simple terms, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind. Now, if we break them down into those 3 percentages or 3 categories, they say that we use about 10% of our brain. Well, that's the conscious brain or the conscious competence. That's where we're aware of our surroundings. The unconscious brain, the subconscious brain, that is conscious incompetence. So we know what we don't know. So conscious is knowing, unconscious or incompetent is not knowing. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people hear the word incompetent and they tend to associate it with being unintelligent or stupid or lacking a skill. Well, I know I can't speak Russian. Does that make me stupid? Well, if I'm living in Russia, another sign came up. I think it's called Made in China. But if I live in Russia and I can't speak Russian and I don't make any effort to learn Russian, that can be considered ignorant behaviour. You being ignorant? Don't know how that sits with Empowering Language Wednesday. But the third level is unconscious competence, or your unconscious mind. So 10% of conscious competence, about 25 to 30% of conscious incompetence, and then about 60% of unconscious incompetence. That's where we don't know what we don't know. How can you possibly control something you know nothing about? Well, that's often the challenge with relationships. But let's go third level, one level deeper. Embrace learning. So this comes in multiple forms. Learn, practice, share. So that's why Sunday is share freely, because we want to embrace the weekends. Because back in my day, we didn't work on weekends. Well, I worked Saturday mornings, but had Monday mornings off because I delivered the Manly Daily. That's why I come up with the shirt, Be More Manly, because I'm from the Manly region. And I played for Manly Warringah. I played in the Manly Warringah district, played Belrose Rugby League, and I barracked for Manly Sea Eagles. That's where my school teacher played. He's now up here coaching the Gold Coast Titans. And that's where my brother-in-law's best mate played. He was also a halfback, played for New South Wales, and both the teacher and my brother-in-law's mate played hooker for New South Wales at some stage. Desi was more of a number 14, a roaming physical specimen. And Tuvs, tough as nails. 6'4", no, it's not 6'4", he's about 5'2" and bulletproof. Who else was there? Yeah, my coach, Dave Ronson, he played for Australia, played for Manly too. There's a lot of connections throughout Manly and Belrose, even the Gold Coast, because it is golden. And we used to call Lionel Watts, where I played for Belrose, where Tuvs played, and we used to call that God's Garden. And up here, we call this God's Country. And Gold Coast, the initials, Gold Coast and God's Country, same initials. Am I religious? Well, I went to an all-boys private school, but what I didn't like is the language they used. Forgive and forget, because they never forgave and they never forgot. If you made a mistake, they'd remind you every time you made the same mistake. But I ask you, how do you make the same mistake twice if it's in a completely different time? If it's a completely different time. I said the same thing, but about 2 seconds apart. Did anything change in those 2 seconds? Absolutely. So how could it be the same thing? Well, it's open to perspective, subjectivity. So remember, when we focus on empowering language, just because you intentionally mean to be empowering or positive, that doesn't mean that's how it's going to land on other people. They might be having a bad day. You might be having a bad day, and you express it in a slightly different way. It depends on how it lands, just as well as how you deliver it. It takes two to tango. It takes two to communicate, unless you're talking to yourself. Everything sounds like it's you when you're talking to yourself. It's just a matter of your conscious competence, your subconscious competence, and your unconscious competence. So we'll leave you with that as you empower your language to listen and feel more. Be more social. Simply say, G'day.
Thanks for listening as we take on the Be More Social challenge. Join Danny Crouch tomorrow as he shares his journey, and we hope you'll join in too. Drop a comment below. Tell us how it's going, ask questions and share your insights. Find more details in the description or at chooseyourchapter.com.au. Let's make time, boost energy, and aim to be more social today.
G'day, g'day, g'day. It's Wednesday, Elevate Language. We're going to reflect on yesterday, strength and habits. And it's raining today, which is not a normal habit here for the Gold Coast, so be more social. Simply say g'day.